Most car buyers think their favorite engine will be around forever. But what if I told you that 13 of the most legendary powertrains in automotive history are being systematically executed right now? Engines that defined American muscle, European performance, and everyday reliability, gone by the end of 2026. In this video, we're counting down from number 13 to number 1, revealing which iconic powertrains are getting the axe and why. From naturally aspirated V8s that shaped car culture to turbocharged performance engines enthusiasts worship, these retirements aren't about reliability failures or lack of demand. And here's the shocking part. The number 1 engine on this list produced over 700 horsepower and was so legendary that its discontinuation sparked genuine outrage among enthusiasts. Stick around to the end, because understanding why these engines are dying reveals the brutal reality facing every internal combustion engine on the planet. Miss this, and you won't understand what's really happening to the automotive industry. Engine 13, Subaru 2.5-liter naturally aspirated boxer H4. Starting at number 13, we have Subaru's 2.5-liter naturally aspirated boxer engine, meeting its end alongside the legacy sedan in 2026. This horizontally opposed four-cylinder has been a staple of Subaru's identity for decades, but the company is replacing it with something entirely different. Subaru is developing a completely new boxer engine architecture specifically engineered for hybrid applications. The current naturally aspirated version simply cannot integrate with the advanced hybrid systems Subaru needs to meet upcoming regulations. The engine itself is mechanically sound, but it lacks the thermal efficiency and electrical integration capabilities required for modern compliance standards. The legacy's discontinuation after 2026 serves as the perfect exit point for this engine. Subaru is consolidating its resources around crossovers and SUVs equipped with their next-generation hybrid boxer powertrains. The traditional naturally aspirated configuration represents old thinking in a market demanding electrified solutions. Engine 12, Nissan 1.6-liter HR16 DEI4. At number 12, the Nissan Versa's 1.6-liter naturally aspirated engine is being phased out through strategic abandonment. Market analysts predict the Versa sedan will be discontinued around 2026. And when it goes, this budget-oriented engine disappears with it. Nissan is redirecting investment toward high-profit utility vehicles and its e-Power hybrid technology. The Versa operates in a low-margin segment that no longer aligns with Nissan's strategic priorities. The company is preparing to reintroduce vehicles like the Xterra while expanding its electrified lineup, including the updated Leaf EVE. The HR16DE engine is structurally tied to this entry-level platform. Without the Versa, there is no application for this powertrain. Nissan's The Arc strategy emphasizes advanced combustion engines paired with hybrid systems, leaving no room for outdated naturally aspirated designs in forgotten sedan segments. Engine 11, Chevrolet 1.5-liter Turbo i4, LBS, and Malibu. Number 11 brings us to Chevrolet's 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, which powers the Malibu exclusively. The Malibu sedan is being completely discontinued after the 2026 model year, marking Chevrolet's exit from the sedan market except for the Corvette. This engine faced harsh criticism for technological stagnation. It remained largely unchanged since 2016 and offered the lowest horsepower and worst fuel economy in its competitive class. General Motors evaluated the cost of upgrading this powertrain to meet 2026 CAFE standards and determined the investment was commercially unjustified. Rather than revitalize the product, GM chose segment abandonment. The company is focusing resources on profitable SUVs and trucks while letting the traditional sedan market collapse. The 1.5-liter turbo becomes collateral damage in this strategic retreat, disappearing not because of technical failure, but because its host vehicle no longer matters. Engine 10, Nissan 4.0-liter VQ40DE naturally aspirated V6. The Nissan 4.0-liter VQ40DE naturally aspirated V6 lands at number 10. This legacy architecture previously powered the Frontier and the now-retired NV cargo van, but the truck segment has evolved beyond naturally aspirated V6 configurations. Modern trucks demand low-end torque and superior fuel economy, characteristics delivered far more effectively by turbocharged alternatives. The VQ40DE represents outdated engineering in a market that has fundamentally transformed its expectations. Nissan's forward strategy emphasizes hybrid technologies including e-power systems and next-generation EVs. The naturally aspirated V6 cannot integrate with these advanced architectures. Even as Nissan plans to revive body-on-frame utility vehicles like the Xterra around 2027, the VQ40DE has no role in this future vision. The engine's obsolescence is absolute. Engine 9, Honda 3.5-liter J35 V6 family. At number 9 sits Honda's legendary 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 from the J35 family. This long-running engine currently powers the Pilot, Ridgeline, and Odyssey, but Honda is executing a complete platform pivot. Honda announced plans for a next-generation hybrid system specifically engineered for large North American vehicles. This system targets powerful driving performance and high towing capability while achieving aggressive cost reduction. Honda aims to cut hybrid system costs by half compared to 2024 systems, a target that requires ground-up architecture redesign. The existing J35 V6 is incompatible with this new dedicated hybrid platform. Honda is launching 6 new hybrid electric vehicle models globally starting in 2026, and the naturally aspirated V6 has no place in this electrified future. The J35's retirement demonstrates that even successful, reliable engines become obsolete when manufacturers commit to fundamentally different propulsion strategies. Engine 8, Ram 3.0-liter EcoDiesel V6. The Ram 3.0-liter EcoDiesel V6 technically ceased production in January 2024, making the 2024 model year its final application. But its inclusion at number 8 is essential for understanding the light-duty diesel segment's collapse. Ram chose to abandon diesel technology entirely in favor of the new Hurricane Inline 6 and Ram 1500 REV plug-in hybrid. The decision reflects the unsustainable economics of diesel compliance. Meeting increasingly strict nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide emissions regulations requires expensive, complex after-treatment systems that no longer justify their cost. Modern gasoline hybrid architectures deliver equivalent or superior efficiency without the compliance burden. The EcoDiesel's retirement signals that light-duty diesels have lost their competitive advantage. The regulatory cost and technical complexity of maintaining diesel engines in the current environment exceeds any benefit they provide, making their elimination a straightforward economic decision. Before we continue with the remaining 7 engines, the regulatory forces driving these retirements deserve deeper examination. Understanding why these powertrains are being eliminated requires understanding the compliance wall manufacturers face. The regulatory imperative. The 2026 model year represents a critical inflection point. The Environmental Protection Agency requires automakers to reach a projected industry-wide target of 238 grams of carbon dioxide per mile. This represents a severe 11% increase in stringency from 2025 targets. Simultaneously, NHTSA's parallel CAFE standards project an industry fleet-wide average fuel economy requirement of roughly 49 miles per gallon in 2026. Achieving this level of improvement requires annual fuel economy gains that many existing engines simply cannot deliver. The financial penalty for non-compliance is astronomical. High displacement engines carry disproportionately negative regulatory weight relative to a manufacturer's overall fleet average. Every V8 or large V6 sold forces manufacturers to either sell more electrified vehicles to offset the emissions or purchase expensive compliance credits from competitors. The forward-looking standards for 2027 through 2032 create even more severe pressure. These multi-pollutant and greenhouse gas standards implicitly favor zero-emission vehicles and plug-in hybrids, while forcing manufacturers to discard engine families that cannot transition to electrified platforms. Eliminating the lowest efficiency engines is the most direct and least capital-intensive strategy for meeting these targets. This foundational economic reality drives the systematic retirement of high-displacement and naturally aspirated engines across the industry. Engine 7, BMW N63 and S63, V8, non-S68 hybrid variants. Number 7 brings us to BMW's N63 V8, a powerful twin-turbocharged engine featuring a unique hot V layout where the turbochargers sit between the cylinder banks. This engine debuted in 2008 and has undergone multiple technical updates, but its core non-hybrid architecture is now obsolete. BMW is replacing the N63 with the S68 mild hybrid V8, which integrates a 48-volt mild hybrid system essential for capturing efficiency credits and meeting tight emission standards across global markets. This electrical integration is not optional enhancement, but mandatory technology for any high-output engine to meet 2026 standards. The mild hybrid system provides torque fill, regenerative braking, and allows the engine to shut down during deceleration and coasting. These functions dramatically improve real-world fuel economy and reduce urban emissions. The dedicated non-electrified N63 configuration cannot compete with this integrated efficiency, making its extinction inevitable for new high-volume production after 2026. Engine 6, Porsche 4.0-liter naturally aspirated flat 6. At number 6, the Porsche 4.0-liter naturally aspirated flat 6, used in high-performance 718 Boxster and Cayman variants, is projected to conclude its gasoline-powered run by the 2025 or 2026 model year. This engine represents everything enthusiasts cherish about naturally aspirated performance powertrains. It delivers visceral response, linear power delivery, and an acoustic signature that turbocharged alternatives cannot replicate. Despite strong enthusiast demand and historically lower depreciation than other convertibles, Porsche is eliminating this engine through complete platform transition. Porsche is strategically shifting the entire 718 line to dedicated electric powertrains after 2026. The company evaluated the cost of hybridizing this low-volume, specialized engine to meet compliance requirements and determined the investment was unjustifiable. Rather than compromise the engine's character with forced electrification or accept the regulatory penalties, Porsche chose complete platform migration to battery electric vehicles. The decision demonstrates that even highly desirable, profitable engines become extinct when manufacturers commit to electric architectures. The naturally aspirated flat 6's dedicated combustion design is fundamentally incompatible with Porsche's necessary transition to scalable electric performance platforms. Engine 5, Audi 5.2-liter FSI V10. Landing at number 5 is the iconic Audi 5.2-liter FSI naturally aspirated V10, the heart of the R8 supercar. This engine ceased production with the final model year of the R8 in 2023, slightly ahead of our 2026 timeline, but its retirement exemplifies the forces driving this entire list. This V10 was renowned for its visceral acoustic character and high revving capability up to 8,700 RPM. It represented the pinnacle of naturally aspirated supercar engineering, delivering performance through displacement and sophisticated mechanical design rather than forced induction. Audi is focusing resources on the next era of electric and performance combustion models starting around 2025. The platform supporting the R8 and its V10 has been completely discontinued. Developing a successor that meets modern emissions and efficiency standards while maintaining the V10's character would require investments Audi is unwilling to make given the brand's electric future. The V10's retirement confirms that dedicated atmospheric supercar engines have no place in manufacturer lineups transitioning to electrification. Even low-volume, high-profit applications cannot justify the regulatory burden these engines create. Engine 4, GM 6.2-liter Ecotec 3 V8 L87. At number 4, we encounter General Motors' 6.2-liter Ecotec 3V8, designated L87. This engine powers premium variants of the Silverado 1500, Sierra 1500, Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon, and Escalade, making it one of the highest volume large displacement engines in North America. Despite its widespread use, the L87 is being replaced with the end of the current vehicle generation in 2026. GM is introducing the next generation Gen 6 small block V8 for the redesigned 2027 Silverado and Sierra platforms. The retirement is driven by competitive pressure and efficiency requirements. The current 6.2-liter V8 achieves an EPA-estimated 17 miles per gallon combined. This falls significantly short of Ford's PowerBoost hybrid variant at 24 miles per gallon combined and the Stellantis Hurricane high-output inline-6 at 19 miles per gallon combined, while offering superior torque. The Gen 6 replacement is engineered to deliver approximately 10% efficiency improvements and reduced emissions. Crucially, the new architecture is designed to integrate plug-in hybrid electric vehicle powertrain options expected for the 2028 Silverado. Mandatory adoption of full electrification compatibility forces retirement of the older purely atmospheric L87 design, which cannot efficiently serve the plug-in hybrid function required for competitive differentiation and regulatory compliance. If you've been considering which full-size truck or SUV to purchase before these V8s disappear, now is the time to make that decision. The next generation will prioritize efficiency over the traditional V8 experience. Engine 3, GM 5.3-liter Ecotec 3V8 L84. Number 3 brings us to GM's 5.3-liter Ecotec 3V8, the L84 variant. This engine serves as the volume workhorse across GM's full-size truck and SUV lineup, making it one of the most common large displacement engines in daily use. The L84 shares the same retirement timeline as its larger 6.2-liter sibling, being replaced by the Gen 6 architecture in 2027. The 5.3-liter represents the entry point for V8 power in vehicles like the Silverado, Sierra, Tahoe, and Suburban. General Motors determined that updating the existing Gen 5 platform to meet 2026 and beyond CAFE standards would require investments exceeding the cost of developing an entirely new generation. The Gen 6 architecture provides the flexibility to incorporate mild hybrid systems, cylinder deactivation improvements, and eventually full plug-in hybrid integration. The L84's retirement reflects the reality that even mainstream high-volume engines must be sacrificed when their fundamental architecture cannot adapt to electrified futures. GM is consolidating its V8 offerings around a single new platform designed for the next 15 years, rather than attempting to extract additional life from an architecture that has reached its compliance limits. Engine 2, Stellantis 6.4-liter, naturally aspirated HEMI V8. At number 2 sits the Stellantis 6.4-liter, naturally aspirated HEMI V8. This engine saw its final widespread applications in performance SUVs and specialty trims, though it was confirmed for standard fitment across the entire 2025 Dodge Durango lineup. Despite a brief market-driven return of the less powerful 5.7-liter HEMI for the 2025 Ram 1500 following overwhelming customer demand, the long-term strategic viability of the 6.4-liter variant remains negative. The engine simply cannot compete with modern alternatives on efficiency metrics. The high-output Hurricane inline-6 delivers superior fuel economy while offering competitive power density. The turbocharged 6-cylinder architecture provides better low-end torque characteristics, essential for truck and SUV applications while drastically improving the fleet-wide emissions profile. Stellantis made the strategic decision to consolidate all high-output internal combustion applications around the Hurricane family rather than maintaining parallel V8 development. The 6.4-liter Hemi represents everything that made American performance vehicles legendary, but its naturally aspirated configuration and large displacement create insurmountable regulatory penalties. The engine's retirement for light-duty applications beyond 2026 is certain. Stellantis is preserving V8 architecture only in specialized heavy-duty applications, where the regulatory calculations differ significantly. Engine 1, Stellantis 6.2-liter supercharged HEMI V8, SRT and Hellcat family. Finally, at number 1, we have the ultimate expression of internal combustion excess meeting its regulatory execution. The Stellantis 6.2-liter supercharged HEMI V8, most famously used in the Hellcat variants of the Challenger, Charger, and TRX, concluded its primary production run largely by 2023 and 2024. This engine represents the absolute pinnacle of high-displacement, forced induction American performance. The Hellcat variants produced over 700 horsepower in standard form, with specialized versions exceeding 800 horsepower. This supercharged V8 was never about efficiency or compromise. It was pure performance excess. The decision to discontinue this engine facilitates Stellantis's rapid pivot toward high-performance battery electric vehicles, such as the Charger Daytona electric muscle car. The brand is consolidating high-output internal combustion power into the 6-cylinder Hurricane architecture while repositioning extreme performance around electric platforms. The supercharged HEMI is the ultimate example of the high-emissions powertrain rendered strategically untenable in the current regulatory climate. Every vehicle sold with this engine created massive fleet average penalties that required selling multiple electrified vehicles to offset. The compliance cost per unit exceeded any profit margin the engine generated. Stellantis could have attempted to hybridize this platform, but the engineering investment required to make a 700-plus horsepower supercharged V8 meet 2026 standards would have been astronomical. The company determined that electric performance platforms offer superior acceleration characteristics with none of the regulatory burden. The Hellcat engine's retirement closes a chapter in automotive history that will never be repeated. The confluence of cheap gasoline, lenient emission standards, and consumer appetite for unlimited horsepower created a brief golden age of performance excess. That era is permanently concluded. The 2026 model year marks the boundary between automotive eras. Vehicles produced before this date represent the final generation of traditional internal combustion dominance. Everything after reflects a fundamentally transformed industry where electrification is not optional, but mandatory for commercial viability. These 13 engines are the first wave. Additional architectures will follow in subsequent years as standards continue tightening and electrification becomes universal. The internal combustion engine is not dying immediately, but its role is being permanently redefined. Pure combustion powertrains are becoming specialized tools for specific applications rather than the default solution for automotive propulsion. The transformation is irreversible. Regulatory momentum, manufacturer investment commitments, and infrastructure development have created a path dependency that cannot be altered regardless of political changes or consumer preferences. The automotive industry has made its strategic choice, and these engine retirements represent the first concrete manifestation of that decision. The question is no longer whether this transition will occur, but how rapidly it accelerates beyond 2026. The manufacturers eliminating these powertrains are simultaneously investing billions in next-generation platforms designed for the 2030s. Those platforms assume electrification as baseline rather than option, confirming that traditional internal combustion engines face systematic obsolescence across all segments within the next decade. The engines disappearing in 2026 are casualties of regulatory warfare, sacrificed to preserve manufacturer profitability and compliance, standing in an environment where emission standards function as effective production bans for certain technologies. Their elimination demonstrates that automotive evolution is no longer driven primarily by consumer demand or technological capability, but by regulatory mandate and corporate survival calculus. While these engines are being eliminated, some powertrains are built to last forever. Check out our video on the top 27 car engines so reliable. They'll outlive you to see which engines will keep running long after everything else fails.